Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us on the Spy Shack podcast, where a group of super fans of Survivor get together and talk about the latest episode of Survivor: Millennials versus Gen X. This week, episode 5, Idol Search Party. With me, like always, is Mark.
Oh no, I'm doing great. It's just I have this head cold right now, and my throat feels like somebody is stabbing it with 1,000 knives. But I'm okay. I'm okay.
And Aaron, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I guess I'm the third one here.
Third one. And
I guess I'm the third one. No.
Making her triumphant return is Kim. How are you doing today, Kim?
I'm doing good.
And we have Andrew on with us today as well. How are you doing today, Andrew?
I'm doing good. I'm just bobbing around podcasts like David finds his idols.
Woo.
Well,
he's the fifth Beatle. All right.
So we're talking to episode 5, Idol Search Party today, and let's just get right to it. First of all, what did you all think of the post-tribal part of the show from last week?
Well, I thought it was interesting because what we saw in the last tribal council was obviously Jessica thinking. Sorry, I'm talking weird. Anyway, Jessica thanking David for playing the idol on her, and then goes back to camp. She's attaching herself to Ken, telling him about the legacy advantage. And I think that's interesting because of the fact that Jessica's all of her confessionals are kind of like pinpointed around the legacy advantage. And now Ken gets one, which makes me think that they're really going to be close in the future.
So now let's think about this, what she tells to Ken. Is it a good idea or bad idea that she told him about the legacy advantage?
Bad. I never believe in telling anyone about your advantages because eventually Ken could say to someone, wait a minute, she has this advantage, let's get rid of her now so we can flush it out. But she can give it away. She pass it down.
Not only that, he already know that she wanted to give it to him.
Right, so I would, on the DL, get her voted out so I can get that advantage.
The weird thing is she's sucking up to Ken when David was the one who used the idol on her.
Correct the mundo.
Yeah.
But you'll have to
really
understand
weird.
It's a physical thing. Women can be just as shallow as men. And with David's awkwardness and his lack of social skills and him being at best averagely attractive, Ken doesn't have any of that. And I think that's what it is. Yeah, Ken saved her, but she can't sit down and have a David. She can't sit around and have a conversation with David one-on-one like she can with Ken, and plus, Ken is easy on the eyes.
Yes. And also, if you're putting anybody next to Ken, they're probably going to choose Ken. So
I would choose Ken.
Yes.
I mean, I see why Jessica wanted to talk to Ken about it is because he tried to save her or try to help her out, and she just went around and went to Lucy and kind of didn't believe him. So now by telling him that about the advantage, she kind of starting to suck up back to him and trying to get his trust, which it kind of works, at least from what we see. Ken is saying, I trust her now. I can work with her now because she told me about the legacy advantage.
But she
voted for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, he voted for her. The reaction to David's move was very mixed throughout the community. Some people thought it was bad. Some people thought it was good. Me, I teetered in between, and then I just thought, I don't think we can say if it was a good or a bad move. I think it's to be determined or TBD. Now that we have this, I mean, a bunch of things could have happened. Ken could have, flipped. I don't think he would be the kind to flip out on David or just go, what? Although the first thing that did happen, David did sort of stop and say, okay, is anybody angry at me? It's just something.
Yeah. Well, he was like,
CeCe's going, no, nobody's mad at you. Nobody's mad with you.
Yeah, he was already getting ready to accept the punishment already.
Of course, CeCe's not going to. You voted with him. But this is how I was saying this before about David's decision. Well, do I think it was a good move or not? Well, again, we couldn't say because we need to see the rest of the game play out. But typically, you don't want to be playing your idol before the merge, and you don't want to give it to somebody else. Now, as to what he was trying to do, the message I think that got through to Jessica was that, hey, you can trust us. You're not a bad person. We like you. All right. I think that's probably the kind of message that Jessica got. And instead of going over to David, she went over to Ken, which is who she had the falling out with. So it's sort of ricocheted off. I mean, David made the move, but it sort of made Jessica go over to Ken, and Jessica was crying after it because she just felt bad about whatever happened and that she didn't trust them. And I think that's the whole. It was interesting to see how it all sort of repaired itself, and then Jessica eventually told about her advantage, which again to be determined.
Well, I think her crying was more not only that she almost got voted out, but that her alliance turned on her especially after half of them went with her to vote out Paul. All of a sudden, the same people who went with her went against her. So, and that's the whole thing, is that she didn't want to believe that Lucy and Sunday would turn on her after they went with her to make that that blind side of Paul.
Right.
And all of a sudden they turned on her, or Sunday, at least Lucy did, turned on her right after, and blaming her for being power hungry when she was doing the same thing and being power hungry and trying to take power in that tribe. So let's go into the idol hunt, because everybody there and Gen X is now looking for an idol, because now they know that the idol was played. It's now being put back into play. Now, it's something that I wanted to ask some of you all real quick. Did Jeff say last week that the idol will go back to play? Because I know it's not always a given that it's going to go back into play. It's more likely that it is going to go back to play, but it isn't. It's not always the case. So did he say it in the last tribal?
Not that I remember.
I'm
I
not
don't
sure.
think he ever says it.
I think it's fair just to safely assume at this point that they're going to put the idol back in play once it's played.
Maybe up until Final Five.
It's a survivor, so
Yeah,
And I think
it's
it should
very
just be
rare
one
that it doesn't
idol.
go back in.
I just think it should be one idol. It doesn't go back in, and then the merge you throw in another idol, because at this point, people are leaning too much on the idol.
I
It
feel
almost makes me feel that what was I gonna say? Makes me feel like that with all these advantages and whatnot, is it making Survivor easier?
I think
strategic?
I can see.
it depends on perspective.
Yeah, I can see it being easier for some, but at the same time, it's also making it harder, because now you have to think about, well, does this person have an idol or that person have an idol? Is there only
I
one
like
idol,
the
two
idols.
idols? And I like the idol.
I think it makes people play different because they're always afraid people might have idols that don't, so they're voting them out, strictly thinking, well, we're going to flush the idol or we're going to vote them out anyway. I like the people scrambling to find the idol. I'm a big fan of the idol. I think it's fun, as long as you don't constantly use it on other people.
Where it's every episode there's an idol being played.
But I think that they need to be harder to find.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask you.
Yes.
David's finding them; they're quite easy.
Well, he
Yes.
knows already what to look for. No, that's what I wanted to ask you.
And that was sort of funny last night.
Yeah, he
But
was
with,
able to keep his poison, and actually,
Mhm.
when he was able to spot the tree trunk with the whatever that was with the symbol, he was able to keep his poison, and not go crazy or not go lose his cool. But
To me, it's like a purple target.
yeah. Well, it looks like a little hurricane kind of symbol or something like that. But
Sunday was close to finding it.
yes, she was really close, but she did. this goes back to it's they're so much easier to find this season. It looks like, but at the same time, you're not looking right where they're putting them. So it's like they made it easier to find, but you have to know that's what you're looking for.
I think they did very. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, I think they did it very well in Survivor Philippines, where they put it right on top of the rice container, but so nobody would really assume that. You actually had to find clues for the idol to find the idol, as opposed to you can just find the idol anywhere because it's hidden in the easiest spot.
Well,
Which
even
is sort
like
of the same thing with China.
Yeah.
I mean, hide it well. I mean, just hide it well. Don't devote, like half of the episode to finding the idol, because I want to see the characters interact. If there is any footage of that, do we have any clips of that? Okay, if we do, then yes, then show them. I mean, I'm okay. I'm 50-50 with the idol. On one hand, it does throw in a wild card. We all saw in Cambodia what happened when the tribes hit the camp. Like with Varner, I mean, in his defense, he hadn't played in 15 years. All right, but with him, he was just sort of sitting down. I think Terry was sort of sitting down too, and the people from the the earlier seasons were just sort of sitting back, while everybody from the post Heroes versus Villains were already out there, talking and shaking hands and whatnot, to the point where Varner was just going, "Oh, you were seeing this? Oh, I'm not seeing." And he's not seeing crap. Like, it shows you how, I mean, just try and not get rid of the idol, and you put a new cast there. What are they going to do? Are they all going to go looking for the idol?
Yep.
And we just tell them there's no idol this season.
Well, that's the whole thing with David.
Just the idea of what if there's no idol?
David right away started. He hit the what's it called, the island, and he was already looking for idols already. But
he found it. It would have been funny if Sunday had found it, because I just want more confessionals of her with her Fargo accent. Because how can you not love her?
I think it'd been funny if it would have been.
I found an idol.
No, it would have been funny. I think if Sunday would have seen it and she's like, "Oh, look at this funny thing," and then just kind of like walked away.
Like Ralph. Oh my god. Like Ralph.
Yeah. So that's, well, I guess we already talked about it. There's a lot more idols being played because they're easier to find now, I guess. But they're coming back in circulation. Unlike before I believe it only went back into play if they were wasted, or it was either they were wasted or they were used. It was one of those two. Nowadays, I feel like if it's wasted, they still put it back into play.
I think it's probably if it's wasted.
Yeah.
But now it's either if it's wasted or if it's used, because that's what they think the audience wants, and sadly, that is the consensus of what the audience wants.
Yeah, like I said, like Kim said, I like the idols. It's just make them harder to find and not so many of them.
Right. I feel like there's like not a balance between how easy they are to find and necessarily how powerful they can be in influencing the game.
Well, let's look at how the last two seasons in Cambodia and Koh Rong, those were a lot harder to find. I feel a lot better those were a lot better hidden, and it's actually challenging.
Yes.
I don't know why that went out of the window. And making the idols look different, which was never touched upon.
They didn't look that much different.
With Cambodia, they really didn't touch upon that because they thought they were reinventing the game with voting blocks and whatnot, to the point where I wanted to throw the TV out the window.
What do you all think of the tribe expansion?
I really wanted Taylor and Foggy Figgy to be separated.
Yes.
I wanted it bad, and sometimes I wonder if they kind of knew which ones to pick, because you always wonder how production is influencing this game. I thought week 1 or week 2 they were going to go into 3 tribes. I think that relatively, I think it's fair, other than David and CeCe on one tribe together, because they are by far the worst players. physically in the game.
Mhm.
Other than that, I liked it. I think that it benefited Adam a whole lot.
Yes.
Oh yes.
With the separation, I think he will flip.
Mhm.
Yes.
Taylor
please.
and Vicky might not think so, but he's gonna flip.
Yes.
And I think Michaela's attitude was very poor. And if I was on her tribe, I would want her voted out because it's teamwork. It's not stomp my feet. I don't like my tribe. I don't like that I have to do this. She's
Right.
athletic, and that's good. But sometimes your attitude isn't worth your athletic ability if you're always complaining. But she did start fire. So
Yes.
Yeah,
So-
we can get to that.
So
I
we have
just
the
wanna go-
three. We have the three tribes. We have the new tribe, Ikabula, which is the green, which is Jay, Hannah, Will, Brett, and Sunday. Sunday and Michaela, which
AKA Half Invisible Tribe.
We created a whole tribe of people that don't get any confessionals.
Who in the world is Will and Brett? Like, who are they? We have
well,
no
Brett
idea.
gets more confessionals than Will.
Shock.
Will after the initial episode didn't get anything else. After the first, I think 5 minutes, Will hasn't received any additional
It's like,
Well,
confessionals.
he did have that wonderful
I'm the
smile when they
youngest
saw the
one,
goat.
and then disappears into the forest for forever.
Yeah. So we see in the Green tribe in the Ikabula, Jay is
And we have to keep in mind they have an extra member.
yes, they did get an extra member supposedly because they're having to start all over.
They're not getting anything, which I think is fair because the other predictions were that it was going to be makeshift Exile Island like they did with last year, although that was sort of different with Julia drawing the Totang buff, which was really just done because they didn't have an even number of people, and with what happened to Caleb, they had to improvise. So okay, if you draw the red buff, you live on your own. We'll make a great character scene out of it, which they couldn't with Julia because there is no. She's just not that very interesting of a character. So, I mean, the other two solutions were it was that or you pick the tribe you go on, but that's not the. They just said Jeff just said, "All right, you're gonna go. We're gonna give you an extra member." I just thought, okay, sounds fair.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with that. And
And the thing I found funny was that the tribes are now going to be known as Vanua and Takali. They were always known as that Probst. That it's right there on their buff.
yeah, and that's what was it like 2 weeks ago? I think I tweeted out and goes, "Is it anybody else bothered by the fact that Jeff is not even calling them by the tribe names?" And I actually tagged him, and yeah, he did it last season too. And,
Yeah.
He's done it every time, like younger men and older women.
The older woman tribe.
Yeah, it's. I mean, they already have their tribe names. Why not name them?
Yeah.
But I get it. It's because of the
It's
theme
easier.
season, and well, the theme as well. And it's
Right.
still. But I mean,
But I
That's a-
think for Cook Islands, he had to play it safe and go, Roro.
The white tribe. Yay.
yeah. You're right on that one.
Last thing we need to hear is him like yelling out Mexicans win immunity or something. Like,
Ooh.
Yeah, but that's one of the things of the theme seasons that I don't like is I've always liked the actual and I've even said it before. I like the names of the tribes and the reason behind the naming of the tribes, which we've lost a long time ago. But not now to even having to wait 5 episodes before we even get the proper pronunciation of the name of the tribes is
Right.
Bothers me. So of the way that the tribes are broken out, does anybody have any other than Michaela, of course, being a sourpuss over there with Ikabula?
Oh, if she had flipped Probst off, marry me. But then again, you don't want to do that in front of other people because then they're just going to think, oh, well, she's no fun. She just. I'm
Well-
thinking of some people don't know who they are. Fire sign leader, Ray they have a constant quote on their comedy albums. Well, she's no fun. She just fell right over. Or something.
Well, that's what Kim was talking about. Is you're going into a tribe with people, some people that you don't know, two people you don't know, and then all of a sudden you're acting like a little kid, being upset. Which I get her being upset and having to start in that new tribe, but that's not the impression you want to give, especially if they might want to work with you.
Well,
I get that she got the numbers, but still.
Well,
Right.
Probst was also narrating her, like, the frustration showing on Michaela's face.
That's what he does.
Well, as soon as she picked up the green, she picked out the green buff. She threw it on the ground.
Oh,
She
I
didn't drop
see
it.
that.
She threw it on the ground.
How old is Michaela?
Probably in her 20s.
Yeah, I think she's like 23 or something.
Let me check.
No, she's too.
She's 25.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
she's
Okay.
20.
All
okay,
right,
well,
she's too old to behave like that. I would
I'll be
expect
25
that
on Sunday.
from
So.
From Will?
Figgy,
Oh, yeah.
not from her. She's just too old. I mean, I think she makes good TV,
Mm-hmm.
and that's good for me. But I don't think that she's necessarily a team player,
Yeah.
and that's going to be a problem further down the line.
Well, how
Yeah.
about Figgy being all giggly that she was with Taylor?
Oh my god.
I
I
wanted
think
them
Taylor-
separated.
I think Taylor was a little more excited later on.
I think Figgy's
Well,
sick of
yeah.
him.
Well, Figgy is happy to be with Taylor, but I think she's ready not to be so public with it with the rest of the people that are there. And Taylor just wants to be all open and just have it
Yeah.
be a non-issue. But of course, you can't do that with people you don't know.
Right. I think
Although, go ahead.
I think Figgy actually has more strategic depth that we're giving her credit for, because right when we got to the switch, she completely shunned Taylor. Taylor keeps wanting to be with her and really show it up, but I think it's smart for Figgy to kind of keep it on the down low so that Ken and Jessica aren't so quick to assume, oh, Adam's on the outs, we can flip him,
Although from when they did the whole little what's it called, what do we call it?
When they met each other,
Yeah,
the
what was
summit.
it called? The summit. There you go.
Summit.
When they went to the summit, everyone was pretty much like, "Oh no, really?" And even in the previous for next week, we were like, Adam tells Jessica and Ken that Figgy and Taylor are an item, and they're like, "No, really?"
Well, I think
mean-
Figgy told them.
No, Figgy tells them.
Oh, okay. I thought it was.
Yeah,
Adam.
they're just going, wow. Another
Yeah.
news, I think somebody commented in the live thread, in other news, water is wet.
Yeah.
I did not know that. Thanks for letting me know.
The only one we haven't really talked about is
The
Vanuatu.
tribe,
Vanuatu. How do you say that?
Vanua, I think
Vanua,
it is.
yeah.
Vanua. Takali, I got that one right.
Yeah.
That's the way I've been saying it, because it was hard to... Okay, is it Vanua?
Vanua.
Vanua, okay.
Something.
And let's face it, Vanua's easier to tweet.
Yeah.
And
The
if anybody
Millennials.
else has noticed about Ikabula, the season is taking place in Fiji.
Yes.
And what was the merged tribe's name? Bula Bula.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Blam.
Why don't they just bring back the merch try from Fiji? So Vanua is the only tribe that has a what's it called, minority of millennials, with Michelle and Zeke, and Chris, David, and CeCe being on the upper hand there, which we all thought that maybe it would be bad for Zeke, but we later find out that it's not so bad for him because he is.
He fell in love with Chris.
I
Yes.
didn't think it was going to be bad for the millennials with that merge because of, again, how bad David and CeCe were.
True.
Some people think you don't vote out your number, but sometimes you have to, because if you keep the two people who can't do anything, you're going to lose, challenge after challenge, and you're going to have nobody left.
Right.
Well, Zeke was worried that he was with Michelle, that they didn't have his back at all in the original tribe.
I'm sorry, Kim, you went Australian for a second there. Did you just call this a merge?
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Oh no.
Going down under.
You knew what I meant, though. But I think that, like I said, they did the right thing of getting CeCe out, or David. Either one could have went. Either one could have just went bye-bye. They are so bad at these challenges that I don't know how or why CeCe again doesn't just stop and say someone else take over, because did someone on the other tribe do that?
Yes, Sunday did.
David.
Sunday just after not being able to get her buoy, she just took off.
Well, I'm talking about in the previous challenge.
Oh yeah,
the very first challenge. Yeah, David swapped out because he couldn't solve.
Yeah, but CeCe again didn't swap out at the other challenge when she took 5 hours to walk across the beam. Here again, she's doing the same thing over again.
Maybe she's just trying to prove something.
So I do want to.
I want to win. I want 500. I want $1 million. I don't need to prove anything. I don't need to look it. I grabbed a buoy and I swam across.
Because I think the real cool part were the tribe dynamics with Chris and Zeke.
Creek.
And that they were both Okie boys, as they say it, I guess. But the thing that I found funny was it sort of seemed the way that they showed it, that Michelle sort of had a confessional saying, "Oh, we're the only two people. they have 3 and we have 2." So it just cuts to her going, "Okay, try to get everybody socializing and whatnot. Okay, where's everybody from?" "Well, I'm from Oklahoma." "Oh, me too."
And now she's by herself.
Michelle goes. That would have been. I'm just thinking, she tried to make it better for herself, and then but Michelle got to stay. But I thought that's what I thought was going to happen. Like, Michelle just got herself out. It's funny just to see, and that Chris he seems really genuine in wanting to have Zeke's back.
Yes, that is actually something that it doesn't look like Chris is making that up, or whatever his little relationship that he has right now with Zeke is actually a real thing. It's not, and I don't mean a real thing like Vicky or Taylor might have or might not have, but an actual friendship they might have just because they are both from Oklahoma. And right away when I told my wife that Chris was from Oklahoma, where he played with the Sooners, she was like, "Oh, I don't like him." Because we are UT here in San Antonio, and Oklahoma is like their worst rivals.
They just came to becoming friends. Not in a homosexual way, that's for sure.
What is that, Rudy?
Yes.
Yes.
Hashtag
I don't know.
Hashtag Rudy.
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the Immunity Challenge, because we kind of already talked about the Immunity Challenge and how bad David and CeCe did. And
David was actually fun to watch.
Well, Zeke was like, is he blowing this on purpose? What the hell?
Exactly.
And then it looked like CeCe was like trying to, how long can I stay in the same spot of water without them noticing or something? That's what it seemed like to me. It was like she was not moving. Did you see? She was so close to the thing. She was like 3 feet away, and she was just staying there. It was fun to watch.
And with David, it was just a comedy of errors. It was like you turn off the sound and they could turn it to the weird sepia gradient or black and white gradient, whatever they have.
Yeah.
And you're watching Charlie Chaplin.
Yes, exactly.
So hill music.
But in ragtime music, and we're all set.
Yeah.
So I read a article where CeCe was talking to Ryan Haidt, and she says that she was at a disadvantage because she was cast 30 days before they went out there, whereas everyone else I think got like 3 months to 6 months to before, and she just learned to swim those 30 days.
Ooh.
Now,
so
here's the thing.
Can I ask you a question?
Did
she apply or was she a recruit?
No, she applied. Not only did she apply, she had been applying for like 10 years.
Then there's no excuse.
Exactly. That's exactly what
I don't care. If you apply, you learn how to swim the day you apply.
So
there's so much quarter challenges in Survivor.
Exactly.
Almost
And
all
thank
of
you
it.
for noting. Thank you for noting that, because I have a whole list that was originally kept on Survivor Sucks. Somebody kept it from 1 to 19. I looked around the other board and shared it on POS, and now we have a whole list of everybody, if they were an applicant or a recruit. Or I came up with I came up with a new. Well, there's probably like 10 or so that nobody can find out about. But yeah, everybody, recruit or app. Or I came up with a new term. A lot of them, people who are transferred from one show to another.
Yeah, a lot of people.
They're considered a recruit. So I thought they
Yeah.
wanted to go in and compete. So I don't think that necessarily makes them, the person who got pulled off, from the bar or whatever in California or whatever. So I thought transfer. So
Well, Jeff from Big Brother tried out for Survivor, and he was chosen for Big Brother. Frankie from Big Brother tried out for Survivor, and he was chosen for Big Brother.
Yes,
Rob Cesternino,
he was a Big Brother.
Yeah.
I would call them transfers. It's a kind of recruit, but that's what I think of.
Hey, Kim, did you know that Danielle Reyes originally tried out for Survivor as well?
Did not know that.
Whoa.
She did.
I
the
think
immunity
that
challenge?
she could have done really good on Survivor too. She is one of the best Big Brother players ever.
Yes.
The immunity challenge was kind of interesting with the. Did they ever do that? I mean, they did something similar to it before with the shooting in the hoops.
Yeah,
Did
they've done the buoy before and they've done the hoops before, but I think
Did
this is
they
the
ever
first
do
time
the
they
choice? The choice between if they could do it long distance or pull it towards them?
Yes,
That's a first.
No, didn't they do that last season?
No.
I think that was a first, because my mom was looking at it and she was. I mean, this was one of the few times she's there watching it with me, and she was just looking at it and goes, "Oh, that's different."
Yeah.
And I said, and she said, "Did they ever do that before?" And I said, "Well, it looks like a mix and match of previous challenges."
Didn't they have a challenge last season where they had to throw a ball of yarn or something like that, and they kept getting on one of the tribes that kept getting tangled up?
I'm thinking it's Karong with Scott, and that he felt really.
Yes. It was Scott versus Nick, and then
Scott being the basketball player.
No. Well, that's the basketball shooting at the end. But there was a challenge where I know what it was. It was when they were shooting that little ball with the string, and the brain stripe kept getting it all tangled up, and they couldn't shoot it.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah. That's what I was thinking, but it's different.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Michaela was great in the challenge. I mean,
Michaela's great in all the challenges. Where she has to like power through and like last week where she had to swim with two people pretty much on her back. She was able to pull. Who was it? Lucy and was it Jessica or Sunday?
I don't know, but in the end, she had to show her tatas.
Yeah.
Her words, not mine.
So she's gone beast mode in challenges, and I like her for her challenges, but she does show some immaturity sometimes at camp when she gets upset. But so far,
which makes me love her more.
But even
because it
even
makes
like
her
that,
a great character.
Yeah, even like that, I do like her more and more every week. How bad? Okay, I tweeted this, but I think only a couple people even liked it or even noticed it. How bad is Zeke? I mean, not Zeke. I'm sorry. How bad is David compared to anyone else in the history of Survivor and challenges?
I think he's the worst. I mean, he's not only is he clumsy, out of shape, just he can't even climb. I mean, he can't even get to the end of a challenge when you're not even competing anymore and do something right. I mean, I probably would have voted him out over CeCe because that's how bad he is. But I understand Chris's mentality of they both suck, but I can probably work better with David than CeCe. So CeCe got to go. But if they lose another challenge, David's going to play his idol. He'd be a fool if he didn't, and Michelle would probably go because I don't think that he'd write down Zeke's name.
You know, a contender for worst person in challenges also goes to Chet from Micronesia.
Oh yeah.
Oh my
Ooh.
god. He was
Oh.
terrible.
Yeah.
Cringing right now.
Can we just go with him? Because I think that David is just.
I have a
David-
splinter in my foot, so I'm going to quit the game.
We'll put David first so he can win something.
David hasn't done anything other than find an idol. That's all, and start fire. He doesn't have any.
He has
game.
some things that would redeem him, but his challenge prowess is not one of them.
Yeah, I gotta admit that. Even though I'm a big supporter of him, he said in his pre-show interview, he has a really hard time talking to people. He wants to go out there and meet new people.
I think he's getting better at the talking to people, but
Oh yeah, and even if he gets voted out pre-jury, they go on a wonderful trip where he'll get to talk to them some more or whatever.
I think
And
he's
that's what-
gone pre-jury. There's no way he's me.
You don't think so?
No, I don't.
I think they're
he's
showing
got
him
a
too
bigger-
much.
I think there's a possibility Chris will go before him on the orange trip.
I don't know.
I can see
don't-
David just betraying him, and
Yes.
that I could see happening, but I don't. If they make it to merge, Chris is going to make it further than David. David's going to go right away.
I think it depends on what happens. If they both make it to merge, I believe Chris is more of a target at merge. But
Yes.
if David is showing that he's not to be trusted, he can
Right.
he can be gone first.
Yes.
And that's what I think. I think it's his lack of social skills. Even if he is not doing anything untrustworthy, you might just not trust him. If you can't speak to someone about game and alliances and all this stuff, you're going to vote them out because you're not going to trust them.
Right. The thing is, though, he has Ken, and Ken is very, even though he said he's socially awkward, I feel like he's very well versed, very much a very good all-around player. And I feel like with them two pairing up, it makes for a very good duo.
Oh yeah, well Ken is he said he was a little bit of an introvert, but yeah, he's a little bit more social. Look at their job occupations. Ken's a model. Not only that, but models,
But introvert doesn't mean you lack social skills. I'm an
Well,
introvert. I don't
yeah.
lack social skills.
well, with Ken, he's a little more social, and yet he's a model, and he knocked up a woman. So there, boom.
He's more social.
I wouldn't be surprised if someone told me David was a virgin. I'm telling you now, it wouldn't surprise me.
Oh, he did. David did make a very funny comment.
Oh yeah.
That something about I think Michelle was trying to get CeCe to turn, and then CeCe came back and said something. Well, Michelle's trying to get you out,
Since you're
because
weak.
she thinks you're clumsy and whatnot. Oh, every girl said that about me.
So that's what I want to ask you guys. We go back to the tribes.
Oh, by the way, the other tribe, Ken
Other
was
two tribes.
able to win for the other tribe.
The what?
I was just saying, by the way, Ken was able to win for the other tribe.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Ken. It surprised me that Ken took forever to make those shots because I thought he was gonna make them easily, but instead it was Michaela who made them real easily.
Yes.
But so we get Ikabula win, and Takali win. Vanau. I don't even know how to say it anymore.
Vanilla.
Yeah, that one, Vanilla.
Vanilla.
Wins, loses, and they lose, and they have to go to tribal. And we go back, and
Oh my God.
we see Chris tells Zeke, "Hey, you're not gonna go. Don't worry about it. You're not gonna go anywhere." And Michelle's there with them, and they tell her, "You're not gonna go anywhere." But right away, she goes and she talks to CeCe, and tries to do something else, which could have easily messed her up because when CeCe went back and said, "Hey, she's going after David," David could have turned on her and could have done something to mess up Michelle. If David decides that CeCe is that whatever Michelle's doing is not to be trusted, he plays an idol on CeCe and Michelle go home. Michelle goes home.
Hmm.
So I mean, I get that the fact that Michelle doesn't know that David has an idol kind of plays into that, but still, I mean, why would you go? And then at Tribal, he throws his name out again. I'm going down on my thinking that Michelle is as smart in the gameplay department as I thought in the beginning. At the very first episode, I felt like she was very strong gameplay wise. I don't feel it as much anymore because we haven't seen much of her anymore after the second episode.
I think her thing is that she's going to lie low until she gets an opportunity to grab, and then that's where she's going to go for it. The reason why she did not play well is because she is probably not prepared to face a situation where she was on the bottom, that she did need to fight for her position because she was already on the top of the alliance just 3 episodes prior.
That's the problem, though. When if you see these tribes that dominate, let's just take. I know Andrew. I think you haven't caught up with Survivor Australia, right? Australian Survivor.
I know the boot order, but I don't know who got. I don't know what happened basically since
Okay.
Andrew boot.
Okay, well, not to spoil anything but we saw the tribe that was real powerful at the beginning, and then all of a sudden when they all merge or whatever, they don't really know how to play as much as the tribes that were going to tribal all the time, and it happens all the time where the stronger tribe kind of disintegrates because they weren't playing the whole time that they were out there until halfway through the game.
Yeah.
Or a great example from our side, a season that Australia didn't get at all because the first season of their version, which from what I hear is the equivalent of watching paint dry.
Oh yeah.
Well, they didn't get to see Marquesas. And I think it's one of the great I think Marquesas is their some people may disagree with me here, but I would say if there is a quintessential season of Survivor, it's Marquesas. Because it has a little bit of everything.
To see the fall.
Like you have the big row 2 were so strong, Maramu were weak. And then in one of the best blind sides, and let me note, no idols were played. There's a turn of power. And then the person who ends up winning, she started out on that weak tribe.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like fan fiction to me, but no, it happened. So, it's sort of like, maybe it'd be sort of something like that, or I don't know. Like row 2 were just filled with so many people, and none of them won in the end.
Mm-hmm. They were booted systematically, weren't they?
Well, that's also one of the challenges that I wish they would bring back that they've eliminated is that what is it? The show of power challenge towards once the merge is there, where pretty much you take out people in the tribe one by one. It used to like in Marquesas, it was that coconut challenge, and there was one where they were had to make the little dolls out of that looked like themselves. And after 3 strikes, your doll would get blown up, or it would get their heads would get smashed.
I think they tried doing a variant of that. They tried doing a variant of that in San Juan del Sur. And when Survivor used to be on YouTube and parts, people would remark that when it was an immunity challenge, it wasn't very fair because someone like I think it was an Amazon Dave, people were saying this challenge isn't fair for David because he's guaranteed to lose.
Yeah.
So I think maybe
that's always better for reward.
It was better for exactly, which I think the last time they did it was San Juan del Sur, which I really wanted to look at it play out, but Jeff just stopped it and went, "All right, you guys are playing too nuts."
Well, I mean, what else is there to talk about? What happened at the end?
The whole thing about choking.
Yeah, when pretty much Chris says if you freaking betray me again, I'm gonna choke you. And I kind of feel like he would have done it.
He would have been kicked out.
Well, yeah, but I kind of still feel like he would have done it. But I
It's in the
said he
rule
was gonna. What I said was he's gonna pick up David and throw him in the fire there at Tribal.
Brandon Hans Escaboots.
Yeah, there you go.
Also, with Tribal Council, them walking in.
The new
What
music.
was up with the music?
Yeah, I noticed. I was like, what the?
Like it was a little really vocal,
Yeah,
something like that.
which I don't mind the new music, but that kind of threw me off.
And then, yeah, CeCe went, and I think
Bye bye, CeCe.
with her, I think there were already hints in the first, because she was already on the outs with Rachel,
Hmm.
as to why they would keep her over David. I'm thinking that there's some. Well, I think so far David's only had one. So I'm thinking that there's just something behind the scenes that we're not seeing with CeCe. Maybe she.
Well, I don't think her gameplay's that well good. I mean, even
No.
from the other week when everyone was like going to vote for CeCe, she not actually was walking around saying, "Hey, you're not going to vote for me," or "Who we're voting for." She was kind of just there, like, it's kind of making me nervous. No one's going to talk to me. Well, I mean, if no one's coming to talk to you, well, how about you get up and go talk to someone about it to see what you can learn. If they are kind of brush you off, then you know it might be that you're going next. And if they lie to you, at least they're giving you the decency to try to fool you. But if they're just not going to talk to you, they're not even going to lie to you about it. Then you're not playing. If you're just going to sit there, then you deserve to go.
I mean, it's not what's. I don't know if there's anything with. I doubt CeCe. I don't see CeCe doing anything like that. I'm just saying there has to be some sort of social cue of why they would.
Yeah, I mean the edit by itself can be misdirecting. Like last season, for example, most of us were thinking Aubrey's the best player of the season. She has to win, right? And then Michelle gets the votes to win, and most of us are like, "What did she do?" Like, there's things behind the scenes that we don't see and that don't come alight until after the show.
Yeah, and just to go back on that one, from what I understood, because from what Jason said, is that they didn't see Aubrey make the moves, and if they would have seen Aubrey or Aubrey take control, or say, look, this is the moves that I'm making or what I'm doing, that they would have voted for her. But because she was hiding or kind of laying low while making the moves, they didn't see it and they voted for Michelle.
Such a shame.
Yeah, so
They probably just didn't like. They probably. There's probably some sort of social interactions that they didn't like her.
Yeah, well, like
Or they just like Michelle that much.
both Scott and Jason said it, because if they would have known that Aubrey made the moves that she made, that they would have voted for her, and most likely everyone else would have voted for Michelle.
Well, of course, if you see the finished project, that's
Yeah.
hours and hours of editing. You're gonna. I think that was one of the. We're getting off topic again.
Yeah.
But the whole thing.
I think Kim might have fallen asleep.
I heard the whole, and then we can go back to whatever CeCe's doing. I'm sure she's hanging out and feeling all right or whatever. But I was hearing a story from one of the Skype calls or whatnot, that the first season of Survivor, they were considering what they didn't know what they were going to do with the jury part of the game. Like, they were thinking about showing them footage of their gameplay, like just to make their decision.
Huh.
But they scrapped it and just said, which is the better move, because what you see on it's not what it. I mean, what you see on television is probably not what really happened out there. I'll just say it. This episode was very good. I think it was a very good episode.
We've gotten 2 good episodes after that middle episode there that was kind of not so great.
I think every episode has been great so far.
I think we felt
That's just me.
kind of bored on the Paul boot. And we
Yeah, I understand. I thought his downfall was glorious.
But okay, so let's leave it there. Well, I'll ask each one of you to let me know what you think about next episode, especially with the scenes that we got. Mark, what do you think for what's going to happen next?
Oh god, this cold is getting to my brain. I don't remember what was in the preview.
Hannah might die.
Well, two things. Two things. One was with Figgy revealing to the tribe, Taylor and I sort of have a thing. No, really?
Oh god, no. They're done.
And then a shot of the challenge and that
The challenge that hurts everybody.
There was a shot of him calling him out medical. Saying medical.
Huh.
And Hannah saying, "You're not going to let me die, right?"
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, I did see on POS people saying, "Oh, did the previews just say that Hannah was going to die or something?"
They show that, but I feel like whenever they show that in the previews, it's probably not going to be that severe when it comes to the actual show. So I'm yeah, it's probably not that. It's probably not that serious. I'm probably thinking if they're showing the failure thing, they're probably gonna try to boot one of them. That's what I think.
I like that name for it, failure, because that's what it's going to end up being, a failure.
Yes.
As for me, I think the whole medevac thing might be it's going to be a scare, like with Paul. And I think what came to mind was Kelly from Worlds Apart. I think it was even the same challenge. Weren't they all blindfolded? I can't remember the preview, Roy.
It was the blindfolded challenge where they had to go and get items and put them on the thing.
Yeah, that was for Worlds Apart, but for the preview,
it's some weird thing where they're having to I think it looks like they're spinning something and they're blindfolded.
Oh, they're spinning around. Yeah, that's gonna. He gets dizzy.
It's gonna be something like in Cambodia where someone's gonna end up getting hurt and.
Yeah, if you spin around in circles, I mean, the blood rushing through your head, I think everybody's going to be fine.
Okay.
My way of looking at it is that if they don't show, like Jeff saying, bring in the chopper or something, it's going to be okay.
Oh, there's a good thought there. Okay, so I'll just keep that in mind, that if he doesn't say chopper. Because I already knew for Karong, I mean, I accidentally read an article. Or that Mark Burnett just revealed in an interview. Oh, our next season was really brutal. We had 3 medevacs.
Well,
Dude!
even Probst in the preview for the next season. Well, in the preview for the previous season that was filmed, but now coming out next, they said this is the most grueling season ever. Most medevacs, or tied for the most medevacs ever. So, okay. Well, thank you for that. Okay, we'll just go ahead and leave it there. Thank you, everybody, for joining me for talking about episode 5 of Survivor, Millennials versus Gen X. I want to thank everybody for not only being here with me, but all of you all listening to us. And let us know what we can do to improve the show. Let us know what you think of it. Give us comments, and everybody. Everybody's Twitter handle is appearing on screen. Here we have Marco Polo 310 for Mark. We have Andrew at Empoleon95. We have Aaron at Aaron_Con, and we have Kim at Kim_is_board. You can get with them. They're always talking about Survivor, and sometimes they're talking about Big Brother. So you guys can just get with them, let them know what you're thinking. Like I said, just let us know how we can improve, how we can get this, because even though we are doing this show here talking about Survivor, we want to know what other people think about it. You can always find us here on nerdfeed.com as well, where you can find all the Spice Shack podcast episodes, as well as other episodes that I will be producing some horror related movies reviews and horror related programs. You can find me at Perspective on all the social media sites, and we'll go ahead and see you guys next week.